Hey, good morning, friends. Today, my friends, is Thursday, November the 13th, 2025, and the time now is 7:45 a.m. So, friends, I want to talk about JD Vance and I want to talk about Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated in September of this year, 2025. And I want to talk specifically about a photo or even a video that has been circulating in the internet and the media. And this is pertaining to a hug that they basically made, they both hugged during a turning point event. And if I can remember, it was in Alabama. So friends, I made a video this year during the summer, and I believe it is in July. And this, my friends, pertains to the idea of the Fifth Amendment. And I stated in the program that because of the Epstein situation, that Donald Trump is in big trouble. And the Epstein situation continues. In just recent days, in the past days, emails that were hacked basically came out about Epstein in a conversation about Donald Trump knowing of the abuse that has been occurring in his island or whatever or wherever. Now, that is a conversation for another time. However, in this video that I made in July, I stated that because of the Epstein situation and Donald Trump's health, that JD Vance could actually invoke the 25th Amendment, and that invoking the 25th Amendment could be JD Vance's best way of getting into the White House. I also stated, friends, that it is unlikely that JD Vance could invoke the 25th Amendment because if he tried, he could face a revolution from the Republican Party, MAGA supporters, and others in the far right. They could see him as plotting or carrying out a coup against Donald Trump. Also, I stated that the best thing that JD Vance could do, because of Trump's health and the Epstein situation, JD Vance doesn't have to commit a suicide. He can just relax and let the Trump's health situation and the Epstein situation play itself out. And in that case, Donald Trump could pass away, or somehow the situation with Epstein could become so much bad that he could basically leave office in disgrace. And in that case, JD Vance can smooth sail his way into the White House. One thing that I stated in that video or program is the idea that because of what has been occurring to Donald Trump, the situation with his health and the Epstein situation, that JD Vance by now could have at least galvanized the masses of MAGA and other Republicans and members of the far right. But I stated that because of his wife could be the reason that many have not joined the Vance bandwagon. In fact, during the election and even after Vance was elected and even till recently, Usha Vance, the wife of JD Vance, the second lady of the United States, continuously is being attacked by members of the far right. They are talking about her being an Indian, that if she get into the White House, that the White House is going to smell like curry, and other Indian Americans such as Vivek Ramaswamy, Nikki Haley, they are all being attacked by members of the far right because of their Indian heritage. Now, in this video, I stated that honestly, if one could look into the future and see their future, I believe that JD Vance, of course, he fell in love with Usha Vance. She's a beautiful lady, and they married and had 3 kids. They do have 3 kids. However, friends, her being a Hindu, I believe to an extent, is a roadblock for JD Vance. In fact, friends, during an event, and I'm talking about the same event with Erica Kirk, JD Vance stated about how he hoped that his wife can convert to Christianity. This guy, instead of standing up for his wife and saying, this is my wife and the woman I married, the woman of my 3 kids who had my 3 kids, and she's a Hindu, no matter what, I support and I will be with her no matter what. He basically stated on that stage that he is hoping that his wife can convert to Christianity, which is basically shameful. Now, I stated that had JD Vance been able to look and see into his future, he probably wouldn't have married Osha Vance. He probably would have married a white woman. And I also stated that let's assume JD Vance tried to get rid of his wife. If that becomes the case, he is going to marry a white woman, and I believe a blonde hair of a white woman. And once that becomes the case, JD Vance, I believe, could begin to get lots of support from members of the MAGA Republic and the far rights and other Republicans. Now, in the Turning Point event, which basically was spearheaded by Erica Kirk, she stated something that was very interesting. She stated that no man will be able to replace her husband. However, she stated that her husband and JD Vance, they do share similar traits, which I believe that is offensive, but it is also interesting.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight, because he understands the fight that we're up against, and he can articulate that in a way that transcends race, that transcends demographic backgrounds. He's an amazing man.
At an event, a woman who just lost her husband in about 6 weeks, just 6 weeks, attended the event dressing like a single woman who had never married before, like she is there hunting for her husband, and making a statement that no man can replace her deceased husband. However, JD Vance, who was a friend of Charlie Kirk, and Kirk do share similarities in traits or personalities or characteristics. It is shameful. When Erica Kirk introduced JD Vance, both of them hugged on the stage, and the hug that they basically made, it is interesting. It is shameful. It is mind-boggling, because they hugged each other as if they are lovers who've been apart for like a while and they are happy. They've been talking on social media. And the way Erica Kirk hugged the Vice President of the United States, JD Vance, with her hands basically in the back of his head, rubbing the back of his head, basically stroking the back of his head, it is very much suspicious. And I do believe, probably, possibly, had there not been people around or camera, I do believe JD Vance and Erica Kirk probably would have kissed. So it is very interesting. It is suspicious. And there are many who are spreading the notion, the conspiracy theory, that JD Vance and Erica Kirk could be in love, could actually be lovers. And that Erica Kirk and JD Vance could actually be in the process of being prepared for the presidency. In this case, Erica Kirk becoming the next First Lady of the United States. I don't know what that means, or if that is going to be the case or could be the case. However, perhaps what I said about JD Vance possibly could get rid of his wife to marry a blonde woman, and in this case smooth sail his way into the White House, could possibly come true. I don't know, my friends, but perhaps you can tell me what you think. Now, friends, please tell me what you think, and I really want to know what you think. However, friends, I'm going to end here. I want to thank you for being a member of the Echoing Voice community, my friends. But most especially and most importantly, or most important, friends, I want to thank you a lot for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace, my friends. Peace.